Claire Obscure. It's a game I've played and I've enjoyed thoroughly, just like everybody else, right? And I know what you're thinking. Rheezzy, could you be doing a differentiation? Could you be being the anti-optimist? Are you gonna be the guy who says, this is a terrible game? I'm gonna say no. Claire Obscure, it made me cry twice. And am I man to say that enough? That's not how you say, yes I am. Let's talk about Claire Obscure.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a JRPG, it's not really an ARPG. What Claire Obscure is a game that wants you to love it, and by God, do I love it. Claire Obscure is what would happen if you sent a JRPG to a French art school to drink wine and contemplate life and death and not get past your 30s, which honestly, sounds pretty good to me. Claire Obscure takes place in a very sad world where the age goes down every year that you live. Right now, we're at Expedition 33. So for example, it's Expedition 70, which people die at 70, and then 69 after that. Nice. You don't just die though, you just turn into a bunch of rose petals, which is pretty hardcore. It's pretty metal, if you ask me. I didn't get very sad at the start of this game. I did, it took like 3 minutes for me to be sad. Claire Obscure is a fantastic game, and throughout the game, you enjoy it more and more. Talk about the locations and environments, which are gorgeous. The game is absolutely fantastic to the eyeballs. It absolutely blew my mind every time I got into a brand new place, whether I was in a forest or I was fighting like a new boss, or I was just walking around and traversing the icy tundras or the great greenscapes, or getting killed by this like goddamn goat. This goat gets me every time. I beat it eventually. I think it was a sheep. Correct me if it was a sheep in the comments below. The game has a vast amount of open world with plenty of locations to go to, optional bosses, weapons, and experiences, and plenty of abilities to unlock, but we'll get into the leveling and characters in a second. Let's talk about the enemies and the combat. The enemies are varied quite a bit, right? The variations go from a bunch of just like angular shapes attacking you to a guy just made out of flesh, all the way down to suits of armor, and then all the way up to monsters and puppets, I think they're puppets. The Gestrels, I think they're puppets. I can't, maybe, possibly, no, they're probably puppets. It gets a little bit dicey when we talk about bosses and side bosses specifically, because they do have the tendency to reuse and heavily buff. Not to say that's a bad thing, right? Like this game, especially with the way that the combat works, you want it to be challenging, and to fight just a chromatic version of another boss or a character or enemy is pretty boss too. It's pretty cool. It's pretty swag. I wish I died at 30. Do kids still say swag? So let's talk about how the combat works. Claire Obscure is a turn-based strategic game. Yeah, you take turns fighting, but it doesn't just stop there, right? This isn't a scenario where it's like Final Fantasy, where you kind of get an idea of who's gonna take what turn and what they're gonna be doing and all that kind of stuff, right? And that does come into the factor of it. But myself, I'm not a big turn-based person, all right? I played a lot of Apex Legends. I played 3,000 hours probably, admitting that with somewhat of shame. And I need my go-go juice, right? I need you to pump me full, okay? I need to be full. Will you pump me full? What are we talking about now? Claire Obscure functions in the idea that not only is it turn-based combat and there's varying enemies and scenarios, but all your stats contribute to how often you take turns, the amount of damage you do with specific weapons. But here's the kicker. Here's the thing that made it spicy, right? Here's the hot sauce on top of the chili fries, right? You've had chili fries, okay? It's cheese, it's fried chips, and it's hot sauce or chili, and it's poo. I'm not gonna get around to it. But is it delicious? Absolutely it is. The thing that differentiates the characters, or at very least the combat in this game, is the abilities, but not only the abilities, but the ability to dodge, the ability to parry. While you are playing, another game that I reviewed long ago, an indie title called Rheezzy, had a similar sort of thing where it's turn-based, but you have a bunch of actions you can take to manipulate and play the game. This kept me, with my tiny little Apex brain, pretty invested in the game. The bosses in the game, we're talking main bosses and some side bosses, are very unique, very fun, very hard. The ceiling for a skill to dodge and parry goes up very quickly in this game. There is times where you're just smashing out. You're like, just freaking parry, jump attack, freaking boom. Like, you're doing that, and then you get to a point where you find a random chromatic on an island, and he just proceeds to just kick you in the genitalia, not penis. Men and women are here. There's at least 11% of you. It might have gone down. Clear Obscure has all of these differentiating parts, right? The combat is fantastic. The traversing the plains is awesome. The storylines develop, the characters develop. You find outfits, you do beach parties, you wear beach clothing. The main bosses are fantastic, and the story unveils in such a beautiful way. To surmise, I think Clear Obscure is one of those games that is egregiously underrated by the people that refuse to play it. That's what I think. I think that if you've played the game and you've played it to its finish, you can see a lot, right? And there's discussions where people say, oh, you know what we should do? We should have a change where it's a little bit easier, or the timing's not so much this, or this boss shouldn't do that. I must clarify. I am truly bad at Souls games. I'm truly bad at timing games, and though I can get to a higher echelon of gameplay, and I can get to a point where I like really switch on, most of the time I'm just the average player, right? I know you see me as like this figure, but I'm an average dude. And the thing I need to clarify here is that you can play this game, not have much of a skill set, and still thoroughly enjoy it. The difficult parts are very passable. The difficult parts are very surmountable. So what I would say is if you haven't played Clear Obscure, hop on, get the Xbox Game Pass, you can play it through that, gun through it. If you're a person who's like, I don't really want to sit around and watch the hippy dippy friggin' all of this stuff about feelings and emotions and heartbreak and the storyline is fantastic. Fantastic. The combat is fantastic. The abilities, fantastic. Team comping, fantastic. The outside area, running around, exploring the world, fantastic, right? And there's one NPC who plays with you, who you become super attached with, and you're gonna cry, bro. I teared up once, I cried twice. No, I teared up once and cried once. No, now it sounds like I did it like 3 or 4 times. Point is Clear Obscure is a fantastic game. It's everything that I would say you need to play. And I would say, if you haven't played it, don't play it. If you enjoyed the content, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Check out my Twitch. I may or may not go live sometimes, but I'm coming back. I'm playing games. I'm reviewing them again. I'm streaming a lot less so I can do it. I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you later. And don't forget, I don't have a sign out, so I'm just gonna don't look at my bum. Don't look at my bum. You'll shoot.